follow 10 people a day, post, and I started doing that, and because my goal for this quarter is outreach, and it had an amazing impact right away. You can see the difference within basically. I saw the difference the first day, and now over 3 days, I think I'm up. I might be up 2 points on my social selling index already. Um,
Really awesome.
and I've got connections, and people are spontaneously connecting back to me, and all those things that George says happens will happen. It's imagine
That's
that.
that was awesome. So I shared that on the post. So what's going to happen? It's Tom Graham uh, killing fish somewhere in the winter, somewhere in Minnesota. What I'm going to do here today is one of the things I wanted to make sure of is that we would give everybody an opportunity to really learn this powerful platform. And I wanted to put some real substance to work in terms of the founders. I am a founder, and there's many founders on the call, and I'm pretty sure. I mean, this is a long weekend here in Canada, and one of the things I was sure of is that if it was just me, Joe, and Marilyn, it'd be great. But now we've got a bit of an audience here. But I guarantee you, for the next little while, you will go away with some very powerful tools and techniques. Okay. So let me share with you a couple of things that I'm doing. First of all, um, I always believe before you can teach, you must do. And before you can make a claim of success, you must have some. On Thursday night, I secured a $10,000 a month retainer contract from a communications company solely on what I'm teaching here in LinkedIn. Okay. And it's actually bigger than that, but I'll outline it once we've inked the deal and who the company is, etc. But and that conversation started on LinkedIn in Messenger at the beginning of August. So within a 30-day period, what I am teaching you to do landed Empresario Consulting, which is one of our core businesses, a 6-figure retainer for the next 12 months and a lot more. The exciting news is going to have a major impact on every member of WRN as a byproduct, and you'll hear a lot more about that company in the coming weeks and months ahead. So what I'm showing you actually really works, and it's simple. And even if you're not a member of WRN, you won't go away without a lot of valuable training today. And even if you have a free LinkedIn account, what I'm about to tell you is easily doable within that process. Secondly, I want to share the following with you. If you're a paid member at their premium level, I'm going to give you some tools today that are only available to our premium members that will blow your mind. That we've loaded up already. Now, first of all, you have to be on the WRN Mighty Network platform. And as a member, if you're not already in there, and I know, Chris, you're not there yet. I know Tom's not there yet. But you'll be able to reach out and basically register. It's free now. Well, free for you as a member, but make sure that you get out there and get your information to me. And while I'm going through the class here today, Sean can actually send you a link to LinkedIn University, because we got lots more resources up there in the last 24 hours. And we're starting to post on a regular basis. And Carolee has the distinction of being the first person to respond to any of my content. So there's always only one first. So she gets the gold star this morning. But let me share with some staggering statistics. Okay. This will blow your mind. And I was in LinkedIn. I'm always doing research, and I posted this last night on Mighty Networks about the statistics here. And LinkedIn, I'm going to give you two pieces. One I posted, one I didn't post. Currently, Link research in 2023, so it's really current. LinkedIn is especially good source for discovering leads. HubSpot, which is a major platform for CRM, found that LinkedIn is 277% more effective at generating leads than Facebook and Twitter. That's significant. And if you're a business person, quite frankly, if you only have limited resources, particularly in time, I would simply, keep Facebook for fun and all this other stuff for fun, but it's not going to get you any business. Not like LinkedIn. LinkedIn crushes it. Okay. Now here is another statistic, and I googled it this the other day. The amount of people that post to LinkedIn in 2023 was staggering. It was. Now remember, LinkedIn has 930 million people that have an account. Okay. Now the North America, Canada, United States are the highest percentage of the total of all LinkedIn accounts. The average person, okay, that is on LinkedIn makes $75,000 a year US, which means they can afford your stuff. Okay. And they basically are, and it's continuing to grow. So, but again, how do you meet them and how do you do things, etc.? And that's really, everybody knows it works for other people, but they have not experienced it working for themselves generally. Okay, few people here accept it. Now I can tell you right now, if you show up every Saturday between now and Christmas, you'll be crushing it on LinkedIn. And you will be able to learn a lot more information of what's going on in your world. So we're going to take it step by step. Now, this is an interactive session. You can ask a lot of questions. If you're a member, you can go into LinkedIn University, comment and question within the
Let's
platform.
be clear, a paid member, right?
Yeah, paid member. And what I'm going to do is I'll give our guests here a sneak peek of some of the stuff a little bit later on. But first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through, and this is, you can write this down, which is also in a lesson plan within the university of the 10 daily steps of LinkedIn. Okay. This is what I do every day. Okay. And I have what's called a very good SSI score. What is an SSI score? Well, first of all, an SSI score, okay, is your daily report card on LinkedIn. Okay. And I'm going to put it in the chat box here today, right here. There's your SSI score. Now, even if you're a free account, you have one. You have to basically open up your SSI score on.
Can you share your screen, George, and show people what you're talking about?
I'm not even on there yet. I'm just talking right now. I'm not sharing the screen here yet. But I've posted the SSI link within the thing. Now, what I will do is I will share my SSI score. That's a good idea. Okay, so let's go to my SSI. And this is
because I'll bet you there's at least 2 people on here that don't know what you mean by SSI anyway. So
I polled everybody 2 weeks ago, and I've been in groups, and maybe one person has heard of an SSI score. It's not that well known, but you all have them, and it's important because can everybody see my screen here now?
Yes.
Okay. This is my personal SSI score. Okay. Now I have over 10,000 people that I'm connected to on LinkedIn. I've been working at it, but I was working at it in the blind without any direction a while ago. And what happened was I did one thing, and I did one thing really well for many, many years. Every time I met a business person in a meeting and or online, and I got a chance to get their name, I would religiously go in and follow them on LinkedIn. That I didn't know. I just instinctively thought it was a good idea. And 99% of the world today uses LinkedIn for research, but not interaction. They look at it like a website, but they don't interact. The 1% that interact get what I get, results. Now, this is what's called the Social Selling Index score. And this tells you how effective you are with LinkedIn to sell whatever stuff you sell. Okay. In here, in the industry of what I've stated for in my profile, I'm at 1%. In the network of the 10,600 people, all right, somebody's typing, if you don't mind, just to slightly go on mute there for me, thanks. If I'm in the networks, I'm at 2%, okay? And this is what's called the current selling index. This is the big daddy. So I'm 71 out of 69. I didn't know if that was good or bad, but apparently it's not bad, okay? And it's made up of 4 components. Where I'm crushing it is I'm building relationship. I score top of 25. My second one is my establishing professional branding. I'm following the right people. This is the one that I've changed recently, and I'll show you. This is actually really important because this is where the sale is. Okay, and hold on here. Let me go back to that, and then here on the social selling score. Hold on, I've lost it. There we go. Engage with insights and building relationships. So the collective amount of these add up to 71. And as soon as I'm 71.51, it will click up to 72. And I'm now targeting the right people. I'm going to show you a hack today that was really helpful. Now, people in the industry average 35 out of 100. And people in my network average 41 out of 100 in score. So I would be deemed fairly large influencer, which tends to drive up my connectability because I'm more visible than everybody else. And I tend to get a lot of people wanting to connect with me. And I'm starting to see the shift from outbound to inbound. Okay. Now, if you're not following me on LinkedIn, I'm going to it's just George Moen. I will follow you back. And you can basically watch what I do. And then if you come back to these lessons on a regular basis, you can ask me specific questions behind strategy, et cetera. But basically today, what I'm going to do is the social selling index is important. The statistics are staggering. If you post a couple of times a week, you're in the top 1 percentile. You will stand out. You will get attention. Your LinkedIn will grow. And your contacts will connect with you. Now, why is that important? Everybody here sells something or wants to sell something. And the statistics of people with good index scores is significant. People do get business from it if you follow some very basic steps, okay? And habits. It's all about consistent effort, okay? So I'm going to stop sharing that. I'll pause here. Does anybody have any questions around the social selling index score at this time?
How to ask questions, by the way, is there's a raise hand icon at the top of your screen, right? It's right in the middle of it. So if you raise your hand, George will know who to call on.
Okay. Anyway, so that's basically, so we start you there. Now, I'm assuming everybody here has a LinkedIn account, and we're in the lead generation business, okay? We're in the lead generation business to help you get leads for whatever business it is. Now, don't feel bad. Almost everybody in the world has used LinkedIn for research, but not as a sales tool. And there's 2 reasons for that. And we're going to solve them this fall in World Referral Network. Number 1, we're going to help you identify and clarify your ideal customers so you know exactly who to connect with. And number 2, we're going to show you the techniques to engage with them to create an environment where you can basically go in and have a conversation about your product and services, okay? So those 2 skills, and that's about communication. And most people get LinkedIn, but if you take them into and inject them with truth serum, they basically don't know how to sell their product to people, okay? And and most people still, we all can be better at it. I could be better at it, okay? But basically, that's basically it, is that they lack the confidence that they can develop a communication strategy around LinkedIn. We're going to solve that for you, okay? Now, let's go to some other basics here to set the groundwork, okay? I'm going to start you with what I call my hack, my favorite hack of the day. This is something that I've been trying, and I was surprised at the results. It continued to reap benefits. I'll give you an example, and this is how granular the strategy is. WRN is opening up a in-person chapter in an area just in Vancouver called Kitsilano. So I found one of the most influential networks of Kitsilano, and I did the following, and I'll walk you through it. The reason is I want to basically have people take a look at us as an alternative, and engage with us to find out whether now this group only meets once per month. We will be meeting once a year, so once a week. This is a technique of how to use it for a specific objective. Okay, let me show you what I did. All right, tell me when you can see my LinkedIn profile here. It's coming up now. All right, share screen, entire screen. All right. Tell me when you can see my LinkedIn profile.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. This is me. It's George Moen. I'm co-founder of Impresario Partners. Typical stuff. This is my home. This is my network. You can see that I'm at 10,699 followers on LinkedIn, 2,000 direct contacts. So the difference between a contact is people typically follow. I typically like to get as many contacts on a direct basis. Okay. So this is what I do. So today, and I go, and I have habits, and this is some of the habits I'll go through. So the first thing I do is I log in the morning and I check out my LinkedIn. Now, what I do is I really manage my invitations. This is where you do that. You go into pending invitations, and there's what I've sent out and what I've sent out and who I've received. I accept everybody, okay, etc. Now, but then the other kind of another statistic I always look at is who's viewed my profile. You can see with my activity, it's really picking up as I've got it. Now, if I go out, let's say 365 days, you can see how my efforts are really paying off here. In the last half of the year, I've really, really increased my viewership and my traffic. And this past week, my traffic is up. I've had 1,498 people check out my view. I'm up 98% from the previous week. Okay. So the statistics don't lie. It's like cash in your bank account. Cash doesn't lie. It tells you exactly how you're doing. Okay. Let's go back to my network. Now, connections here is who's following me. And this is what's happened in the last 24 hours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 people have followed me. Interestingly enough, that's exactly the same number of people that I follow each day, between 10 and 12. Reason being is if you exceed 100 clicks for somebody to connect with, exceeds 100 per week, you get a warning. They don't want you to build irrelevant relationships. They want you to build relevant relationships. So the algorithms penalize aggressive following, for lack of a better word. Okay. But if I do it correctly and I target the right group, I'm not anywhere near offside, and you start building relationships. I was very interested in this fellow. I had a great relationship with this company in Vancouver here a few years ago, and I'd love to reconnect. This guy turns out to be the president of the company. And so as soon as I saw him, as soon as I saw that he started, looking at WRN, the World Referral Network, I opened up a conversation with him because he pays referral fees for leads. I know that's a fact. So I said to him on private messenger, now remember, he was second to me yesterday, but I really wanted to connect with him because I think we can develop a business relationship. So what I did is I said, I'm a big fan of your brand. When Peter Temple, which was a franchisee of this fellow, was with you, I referred quite a bit of business over the years. That would be crack cocaine to business owners right there. And it's a true statement. He could check with Peter. My sense is that you're about to get into a lot busier as the economy gets. Now, what this company does is basically debt restructuring on behalf of the creditor or the person who owes the money, which is very rare in most markets. And these guys do a booming business when the markets go into a downturn. And I think we're going to go into a downturn with high interest rates, inflation. told a side story. All right. My sense is, I just said George Moen, and I left it at that. He said, thanks for reaching out. Can we schedule a call for next week? We can. Connect with me on Tuesday. Done. And that happened in 24 hours. Okay. This here is how you build business leads and referrals. So I've taken it from a prospect. Well, he wasn't even a prospect. It was a person. He was one of the 930 million people on LinkedIn. And within 24 hours, I've got a qualified lead. And he's already in my CRM. Okay. I have dozens of examples like this. Okay. So that was the first thing, but I targeted him. Okay. Now here's what I'm doing. And I targeted him, and that was a byproduct of my strategy around Kitsilano. So there's a lady by the name of Judy Ryman. Some of you know her, great lady. She runs a monthly networking event called Kitsilano something. I can't remember it right now. Great business. So what I did was I basically said, okay, Judy, what are you doing lately? All right. So she's a pretty regular poster. She's had 9 people comment. Now, what that means is if 9 people have commented on this particular interaction with her, they basically are active on LinkedIn. That's number 1. Okay. So I went in there and I'm already connected. She's a member. Now that's interesting. Previously with this fellow here, I went in and he was second level to me. I connected with him. Okay. He then saw me, checked me out, and bought a ticket to $10 for the VIP event, which is one of our pipeline strategies to the event. And all I did was clicked on his profile. Okay. And that happened again yesterday and the day before, where 3 people from her network bought a ticket to my networking event that I host in Vancouver, downtown Vancouver. That person there hasn't gotten back to me, but she moved over, is now a member of the WRN website where we have 750 people. Okay. So I could keep going down here. So because I'm interested in working with some of our members here in Vancouver, I'm going through and basically there's 13 people here. I'm already connected. So we overlap. Brett McDonald. Okay. She's obviously she's in Victoria. We're going to be open up Victoria. Now she has 506 followers. What I'm going to do is I'm connecting with her, not following her. Okay. But you can follow as well, right? So that's one of my 12 today. And then I go back again and I go down here again. And Jeanette Dirtheredge, she's with Mary Kay. I like network marketers. They know how to conversation. She's in Florida. Florida seems to be popping up. I'm going to follow her too. Connect. Now, I typically wouldn't do that, but network, she's also connected Carolee and 21 other people. So I find that interesting. So let's go back again. And so what I'll do today is that's one of our members there. He's posted on her site. And if I go down deeper into it, because I've worked the first few here, I'm going to go down here to where she's got some decent interaction. 7, that's pretty good. 6, that's not bad. 2, 1, 8 others here. So Daniel Turner, I know her. Again, it's getting a little thin because he's following me on Devilland, but you get the picture. So these people are in Kitsilano going to her meeting, and we are working that process. So that is just a technique for a specific goal on how you can use it. Now, generally what I would do in the beginning until you can do these kind of rifle strategies is I would basically go to where is your market? So the first question you have to ask yourself is, where are the people on LinkedIn that I want to talk to? Okay. Now, in my case, okay, I want to do business with business owners in the solo and micro business owners right now. Okay. And so basically what I'll do is I'll go to Small Business BC, American Federation of Small Business. I'll go to their website and I will follow them. And I'll tend to follow people that are, active on the business, that have posted within the last 30 days, because they're more likely to follow with me. So that is part of my daily habit of getting my 10, okay, and checking out my statistics. So the other thing I do on a regular basis, now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pause, and I'm going to come back and give you some more context. Hold on here. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to pause there for a second. Is there any questions so far? No? Okay. Straightforward. Yeah, Tom, go ahead.
Oh, I'm so excited. I look at my numbers and it's like I'm really low and I'm really high in my category, which is like, holy crap, there's an opportunity. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me tell you something. If you breathe and you go to LinkedIn and click one thing, you're in the top 1 percentile. Okay. The bottom line of it is absolutely right now so underrated that people have not yet really woken up to the fact that it is where it is. First of all, every person that you could possibly want to do business is on LinkedIn right now. And we have the ability to click and send them a private message. 930 million people you can reach out to. Now, you have to craft that message and you have to have something intelligent to say to engage in the conversation. But the bottom line of it is that you don't have to look any further than your PC or cell phone to basically build your business. And it's free. And I can't, and the difference between successful people and non-successful people on LinkedIn is belief. Okay. You have to believe first you can do it. And you have to believe that you don't, like everybody else. Well, that's good for George because he's got 10,000. Well, I started out just like you with one person and then 2 people and then 3 people. Right. But I can tell you with the techniques I'm showing you here today, you will basically surpass any of your competitors in a very short period of time and become a thought leader within your industry if you deploy these tactics.
Question on the floor, George.
Go ahead.
Chris, go ahead.
I was just going to comment. Yes, this is what we were talking about yesterday, is that following these techniques makes an immediate difference. It doesn't matter where you are. These will work. You will.
Yeah, actually, why don't you repeat what you told me on LinkedIn? Some of the people weren't on when you said it earlier today. So what happened last week?
I started following after last Saturday's meeting. I started following people and doing exactly what George said, getting on, following 10 people or connecting as the case may be, and starting to post. And there was an immediate difference. The response tripled to the posts that I was making and the searches and things. And I've already gone up in my SSI. And that was after 3 days of dedicated work.
Yeah, and again, the good news is if you miss a day, it's not going to kill you. I mean, the bottom line, but I'm a power user. I'm trying to drive memberships for WRN. And as I said, I've already paid for my LinkedIn as of this past week for the rest of my life with this one major account that we landed. And our intent is to do a lot more of that. Okay. So, but let me get you into a couple of spaces. So I'm going to take you into something here. All right. Okay. Tell me when you can see my profile or my Mighty Networks interface. Should be there now.
Yeah, I can
Yes.
see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. This is the beginning of our paid members area called LinkedIn University. Now, what I'm going to show you is a couple of things. So the courses are starting to come together. We have what's called LinkedIn resources. We talk about your social selling skills. We have what's called beginners LinkedIn training. I've just added daily list. We'll spend some time on that today. Really good training videos on the internet. And this one's about content creation. For those real power users that really want to get into this, I found this great 15 or 19 page tactical content development plan. It is spectacular. It is the best I've ever seen, and it's now up on the university. And this is something that you could learn yourself, but this is for the power users. And then this is area called tips and hacks, little details like how to manage your invites and withdrawal invites and why that's important. But you're going to see every 24 to 48 hours lessons like that. And they're micro lessons up here in the university that will drive traffic. Now, this is one you might want to take out your camera and take some pictures of that. So if you're don't have access to it, we're kind of giving you a sneak peek. These are, okay, so what this is my daily checklist or my daily habits. Okay, let's go through them all, what it means, okay? First thing it is I answer all my pending invitations that have come out. People coming in with me, and I go through them, and I always look at them, and I say, okay, I basically accept everybody, right? Because they want to connect with me, and I'm open to networking and meeting new people. This is doing it digitally. And I get people reaching out to me now every day from all over the world, and I accept them all, okay? I even put my cell phone and my email up there, which I know a lot of people have freaked out, but in the 10 years I've been on LinkedIn, I've never had one situation where I've had an inbound call or spam that I didn't want to take a look at. Just saying, okay? Now, 56% of the men versus 46% women are on LinkedIn. It's skewed a little bit heavier. Men tend to be more out there with respect to their contact information. But I'm in business. I want people to contact me. Hence why that's why I put it out there. And I've never had a bad experience. This is just a personal situation. Sending information. Connect daily with contacts that are in your target market. We recommend 10 to 12. This is what I learned last week. Never exceed 100 per week, and you get penalized. One of our members last week was on a call midweek with me. She basically exceeded that and got a warning saying you're exceeding your outbound. They want you to build meaningful connections, and so do you. It takes time, but slow and steady wins the LinkedIn race. Okay.
George, let me just put in here what I recommend. Okay.
Sure. Go ahead.
If you get that message, all right, you want to wait 72 hours, business hours. So if you get that message on a Friday, wait until the following Wednesday to start again. If you get that message on a Monday, wait 3 days, and then you'll be okay. Okay.
Thank you. That's great. That's great. Now, what I also do, that's a good point, Sean. And so then in the case, now I'm sending out information. I'm accepting everybody. I'm sending out my invitation. And then there's a very third most important part. And this is where I got the contract. Okay. Each person that connects, thank them for connecting. Okay. Nobody does that. And actually, I have to say that that's not true. I had some fellow out of Houston. He's an engineer with ExxonMobil, who said, "Thanks for connecting." And I went, "That's what I do." And him and I have gotten a chat, and now we've flipped over. We're doing it on Messenger or on WhatsApp. Okay, so he suggested that we go to WhatsApp. We exchanged cell phone numbers, and now we moved over to the WhatsApp environment. And so that is taking the relationship to the next stage. Okay. But most people do not send out messages, and it is completely acceptable. I've never had anybody push back on me saying thanks for connecting. There was this lady out of the Kootenays, which is an area in eastern British Columbia where I grew up. And she was she didn't say where in the East Kootenays. It could be Trail or Nelson. And all I said to her is, I said in my chat, "Thanks for connecting. I'm actually from that part of the world when I was a young boy. I visited there about 2 weeks ago with 2 months or years ago with my partner. We had a great time." And she's the head of the Kootenay Business Development Association. perfect target market for what we're trying to do here at WRN. And so that basically opened a conversation. I would say 30 to 45% of the people will come back with an interaction of the people that are saying. Now, I'm not going to measure any hard results because I've been doing it really hardcore to get some statistics here. And I'm going to report back to at the end of September when everybody's back to see it, because I think from the traffic, a whole bunch of people are not on social media, particular business, but that will change starting next week. But never exceed 100 per week. And Messenger. Now, interact. This is important. Comment on one of the posts from your target market. Let's say you have an ideal client that you want to work with, and that client is on LinkedIn, okay? And they decided to follow you back or whatever, right? Well, what I would do is they look at their posts, say, hey, and have a perspective, send some context. And because people do not regularly respond to posts, or start out with a like it, comment on it, interact. The conversation is completely visible. And remember, everything you put in there is, you can take it back, but basically be intelligent. And also download Grammarly. It's a free version that basically and I suck at spelling and sentence structure. Like, it's just something I'm not good at. But Grammarly makes me a little bit more tolerable. So, and it's free. You don't have to use the paid version. And as you're typing, you can click Grammarly and it'll help you with the content. That is a tool that we recommend with this one, right? Post. Now, this is where you get real context. I'm going to go back to my post in a minute, but posts will really drive your numbers. And you have to have what I call develop a plan for content and post regularly. The minimum is 3 to 4 times a week. I do twice a day generally for power players, and boy, does it work. Okay. Stats on my paid, unpaid, doesn't matter. You have some stats. You have way more stats if it's paid, which I totally think it's a great investment. But basically check your stats daily. I basically actually write my stats in the spreadsheet, particularly around my SSI score, because it shows me exactly where I'm having an effect. And I'm having most effect on one segment of my SSI score. And that's because I'm following the right people right now. And that's starting to move my SSI score up. Remember, higher SSI score, the more you're going to sell. Okay. Learn. Now you can go and get a bunch of free stuff on the internet. It's just rife with stuff. And you know, there's endless videos and articles and things like that. You can learn at WRN University. We're curating every video and every article before we even put it up there, and we're giving you a summary of it so you can scan it. And so we're bringing value to our members if they want that. Particularly with some videos, you can get, like, some of these videos are 45 minutes long. There's about sometimes there's 30 or 15 topics. And a lot of videographers will put in at the minute 21.45, there's an article on how to write the proper post. Perfect. I want that. Just fast forward the video and you can get into the content that you want. Okay. That's in the learning. This morning here before the call, I listened to an hour video. I decided it was great. I listened to one last night. I said, yeah, that's a waste of time. I'm not going to post that to my team. So basically, I'm curating data, as is other members, on a regular basis. So we're kind of doing the abridged version for you to basically cut down your training time. And then what I do too, as a habit, is I pin my LinkedIn profile. I use Chrome, and I also have it on my cell phone. So when I'm away, I can keep up, I can respond, I can follow back somebody. So I'm connected with LinkedIn on a regular basis. Why? Because sales are coming through there. Okay. I'm selling 24/7 through my phone or my laptop as I'm doing my other stuff. And it is regular. Now I'll show you how regular it is. So for those who are members, and if you're in here, I've added the daily checklist. Sean put up your daily profile. I've added a very new training video, what withdrawals, and a 19-page LinkedIn tactical program. You're going to see 1 or 2 things a day while we really ramp up the content. But every week there'll be more in here that you can probably get through because we've got a team of people working on this now. But make sure that if you're interested and this works for you, as it did with Chris, this is where to go. So I'm going to stop this component for you. I'm going to hit my any questions so far on that one?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Thanks, George. When we're looking for people, your ideal people to look for on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
people you're going to follow you, how important is your personal profile on LinkedIn? Because a lot of people don't have that up and filled up.
Well, okay. So I still see people with no picture on LinkedIn. Those people I don't even follow. Okay. They've got up there. So I would say there's lots of, and we've got it. Sean's got a good piece up on University there about it, but LinkedIn profiles are important. Okay. And you constantly change. But what's good, if you look very closely at LinkedIn, it helps you, it walks you through the steps until you're at 100 of all the things you have to have on your LinkedIn profile. Now, I don't like really busy profile with hashtags and a whole bunch of stuff. People who do that, I think, are losing it. I think it has to be simple and concise and uncluttered. That's a personal opinion. Now, it's like a belly button. Everybody has one, but everybody has one on their opinion. So I would basically make it simple and tweak it and learn. Oh, that's a really good idea. You see somebody else. Oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to put that in because I'm a perpetual student of the technology. So I'm always looking for best practices. And there is so much mountain of information out there available for you to be good at this. Even free versions of stuff. I mean, if you have the discipline to do it yourself, great, go do that. But there's tons of stuff. So to a point, it's important. Any other question before we move on?
Mm-hmm.
It's already 7:45. Are we enjoying this?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let me get you into the final component of interactivity to start building the relationships towards sales. Okay. Okay. So let's go back into my LinkedIn profile and let's do this here. Okay. So the real juice is in the messaging, in my opinion. All right. And what I'm going to do here. All right. Just to get used to all my little techniques here. Here we go. Can you see LinkedIn here? Okay,
Yes.
so let's go to Messenger. And first of all, if you want to basically see what I do, make sure you're following me. And I've put my and you've got it's at George Moen. It's easy to find me. Now let's go into Messenger, and I'll show you what's happening here. So I was up. I just said, hey, no, this is Gary up at 2:00 in the morning. He sent me back. I sent him yesterday. I saw him. I didn't have a chance to meet with him. So last night he had registered a ticket. So this is how we sell. Okay. He registered on our LinkedIn site, which I'll show you here in a few minutes, or maybe I'll leave that till next week, that he's coming, but he hadn't bought a ticket. So I have a standard post that I will send out to people that I will send through their messenger about the details to buy a ticket for the network. I'm trying to take that person through the sales cycle up to the next level where I want their cell phone number, their email in the CRM, and I want to start the sales cycle of our very products and services. So here's what we do here. And he responded back, thanks. I said, most people would leave that, not me. You're welcome. And this is true. I personalized it. We didn't get a chance to connect last time. Maybe soon, because I saw him on the boat, and he goes, I will ask Earl to point you out to me. He's the person who originally invited me. He seems to know everyone. And I will say earlier on, absolutely. And that's what I do. He sure does. Hopefully we will see you on the 14th. Boom. Now that conversation is going on. Now that's today. So I asked Chris yesterday if I could use that quote that he put to me because it was in his text. So yesterday I had a conversation with this lady here. This is Tyler Dawson. You'll learn a lot more about him. Yesterday, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. You get the picture. That's all yesterday. Okay.
Mhm.
And Tyler and I went back hard. We had a lot. We shared some wine. We did some business. He asked for wine, so he sent me this. He's not a big WhatsApp fan. I just sent out to Mo. He hasn't responded. Cheryl yet hasn't responded. These are all new. They haven't responded. Tom, him and I go back way back, so he responds, et cetera, et cetera. And so these are yesterday, but if I go deeper down in my contacts, you'll see that I've had a lot more messaging. So this is where I can go way back in here. And these people, and this lady here has responded back. Thank you. I plan to attend on the 14th. Okay. So the strategy is very simple. I'm trying to get them to the next event. I'm trying to build a relationship, and I have these interactions, and I'm doing it all from my computer digitally. Try to figure out how to have this. Now, I can't remember all the conversations I have with, and I don't have time to write everything down. I should, but I don't. And the bottom line of it is that this thing keeps a complete stream, and it goes back years, years. Because I remember Tyler and I met. So I gave Tyler his first referral that started his company. Okay. And he basically, him and I have been chatting, and there's been big gaps. There's one here I want to share with you. And this is a friend of mine, is a son of one of my friends, Steve Barish. Steve Barish. Where is he? There he is. Okay. Now take a look at Steve. Where is he? Right here. So he's a family friend, but Steve and I go, this is not the right one. I had one that went back to 2010. We had a 10-year gap, and then we had a conversation. So this is a permanent record of all your conversations. But this is where I do a lot of our selling. Okay. And it's easy. You just have to, it's like having a conversation, but nobody told me that you could do this and sell from Messenger in LinkedIn until I started doing it. Right. And it's so simple, and it's free, and anybody can do it. You just have to make a choice. Small businesses today, and probably some of you on this call, have really tight, if zero, marketing budget. Okay. I'm sure that everybody on this call has a LinkedIn profile. And I could tell you, and this is for you, Charles, I found a piece of resource on, and again, this is what I'm going to do for a lot of our members, how to use LinkedIn as a financial planner. Would you like that, Charles?
Oh, yes.
Of course. Well, the bottom line is I found it, and I'm going to send it to you in terms of, and I'll also post that, because we'll have other financial planners like Brent Edwardson, who's not on the call this morning, but he'll want that as well. So we're going to get really granular and try to help you develop individual strategies. Okay. And so I guess in summary, it's you have all these pundits and talking heads that talk about how they do it. And I found this guy talking about how he's really, killing on social media, in particular LinkedIn, and doing all those things. I looked at him, he had 6,000 followers, which isn't bad, right? But I have 10, going 11, and I'm not there. I want to be a lion. A lion is 30,000, and I'm going to be a lion here, and I'm going to develop strategy to take other people to become other lions. And lions it's an acronym. Can't remember what it is today. LinkedIn something. Just call it power users. Interestingly enough, too, other tools opened up for me as I hit 10,000 that weren't available to me before. They just quietly open up, and I go, oh, okay, that's really new. There's a thing called Content Creator. I haven't figured it out yet, but I will. Yeah, go ahead, Carolee. You're on mute.
When do you recommend going from free paid in
Here's
LinkedIn?
my recommendation on that one. Okay. Don't pay for it if you don't use it. It'd be one of those little drags on you going, I'm not using it. It's like a gym membership. And then so there you go. LinkedIn Open Networker, Lion. I would say develop a strategy first. Okay. And figure out where it's not so much like I can teach everybody on this call within a few weeks how to start really building their audience. That's the easy part.
Mhm.
Okay. The harder part is, well, there's actually the hardest part is giving you enough confidence that putting in time without results in the beginning is worth it. And that's where a lot of you will fall down and most people think about it is because this is where the world's falling down. So you're not alone. 930 million people are on LinkedIn. Only 3.5 million post on a regular basis. What does that tell you? Now,
Say the numbers again, please.
okay, this is where this gets scarily silly. There are 930 million people with profiles on LinkedIn. It's bigger than anything, bigger than Facebook, bigger than anybody. They sell 277 times more percentage of sales for small business owners than any other platform, and all of them is combined. And if you're in business, every business person I know is on LinkedIn. I don't have to go anywhere. And I had over 40 interactions yesterday. How many interactions did you have with potential clients yesterday? And you can get that if you're free. Okay, so that's where you're coming from. I can tell you from personal experience, I'm landing deals. I'm selling something every day on LinkedIn, as little as a $10 ticket to an event. We've got other products and services that are coming along that we're going to sell on a regular basis through these pipelines. Okay, anybody can do it. Okay, the question you have to ask is, are you willing to do it? It's not whether it works or not. It does. It's not whether it's available to you. It's free. Do you have, all you have to do is, well, let me ask you a more simple question. Would you like to make some more money? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Seriously, you want to make some more money? Okay.
Mhm.
Then show up on a Saturday and I'll show you how. Number one. Number two, and again, and some of my team here know it's true. We landed a $10,000 a month retainer last week using LinkedIn. And it's a monthly one. And it's probably going to be there for a couple of years. That's a lot of money. So, and it was just one contract. And then but I'm excited, whether it's I'm a little bit more excited about that one, but I'm excited about a $10 ticket. I'd rather sell a $10 ticket to 1 million people than a retainer of 10,000 a month to 5 people. Okay. And Sean, who's brilliant, and she's kicked my ass a couple of times, so I have to give her 99% of the credit, but not all of it. Yeah, pretty much all of it. She was the one that really trigged me up here, and I started to deeper dive. She's been sending me stuff, as Sean can do, to prod me. But then I went to work, okay? And I went to work, and I really figured this phase one out. So here's what we're going to do. If you're a member, you're going to get more stuff. That's just the way this thing works. If you're not a member, you're still going to get good stuff, and it won't waste your time by showing up, okay? If you really want to accelerate this, we're putting a real effort in, because there is nothing that I've found that's more effective than a strategy using a free tool that connects with 930 million people. If you can find something, I will be the first one to sign up for it. Okay, there just isn't anything else. So, starting today, this is the first lesson of LinkedIn University. If you're a premium member, you're getting premium content, a lot more stuff in there, and that's 24/7. I've got a ton more stuff to add up, but just using these simple contacts. Now here's where it gets really interesting, and we'll talk about this in our more advanced lessons. But there's 3 or 4 people that I interacted with just yesterday alone that I'm going to be building into the CRM that you get as a $59.95 member. Okay. And so make sure that if you're a paid member, you get in the habit of taking these conversations that look like they might be going somewhere and put it into your CRM. Okay. And because we do go high level, Bob Skip the Milliken is on the call. He's a perfect guy that can show you how to take this and start analyzing this data on that program. Now I'm going to hang around for those who want to hang around, and I don't have to run off here. I just want to hold the train to about an hour. This is what the focus will be on Saturdays, where everybody's relaxed and we can sort of sit back. I'm anticipating this to grow. It's a pretty good audience for a holiday weekend. But
George, can I mention a couple things before you close
Sure.
this particular part down?
Yeah.
So first of all, so those of you who are premium members, we will post videos that we find that we think are going to be useful to you, and articles that we find as well. And I'm getting ready to actually put up a really great whole lesson plan on how to optimize your profile on LinkedIn. Okay. There's already a video up there, but I'm putting up a written version because I know some of you like to read through the instructions and take it step by step. Not a problem. The reason why we're doing that is because the very first step in actually moving your social selling profile number on LinkedIn is to make sure your profile, right, your personal profile is as optimized as possible. Okay. So there are, and whether you Google it yourself and look up what the steps are pretty much the same no matter where you look it up. Okay. But I'm making a list of those steps today, and I'll add it to, it's going to be created as a lesson in LinkedIn University. So those that you are members, just go look up that lesson, download the whole thing, print it off, use it as a little checklist for yourself. Okay. And have that be the first step, no matter what it is you're doing. Have optimizing your profile be the first thing that you do. And even if you think you've done it before, go take another look. Because one of the things that LinkedIn loves is it loves when you update your profile. It actually gives you a slightly higher score if you regularly update and change your profile than it does if you're just jumping on and using the same profile you had last year.
Okay.
What I recommend to my clients is that once per quarter, okay, you go in, look at your LinkedIn profile and see what you can add. Can you add a new business that you did business with? Can you add a new team thing? Can you add some certification that you've got? What can you add into that profile to mix it up just a bit? Thanks, George.
Thank you. So Bob, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just reiterated the same thing because I've noticed in the past, and I was going to ask about the legality of doing this on a regular basis, is when you do update your profile, it sends it out to everybody that's in your LinkedIn world, and you get responses back for people that are paying attention. So, it's really good to know. Also, when you change position or take on a new role, if you post that or do something once in a while, you get all these people saying, and I do the same thing. I mean, you get the notification, I send them and say, congratulations on your new role, or I put a little bit more into them, and you get people that are interacting that way. So it's a good way to catch somebody that's paying attention to you.
Yeah, and I think what we're all trying to do here, and this is the benefit of larger groups, is that we get best practices and what works for you, and we'll get more of that. I also want to point out to the chat box here. Okay. So take a look at the chat box, and here's what I'm trying to get our network's pretty good actually, but here is, I'm the co-founder of World Referral Network, co-founder of Empresario Partners. Now, there's my email, there's my cell number, there's my LinkedIn profile, there's my website and where I'm located. Okay. Now, some people can also add a little bio. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do here is, why doesn't everybody go to their LinkedIn profile and paste their LinkedIn profile, at least if they don't have the full contact information like I have? Can the link in the university? Yeah, Tom, Sean, are you on the call? Can you send Tom an invite to the LinkedIn University? He's a member.
Absolutely, doing it right now.
Okay, Tom, you're there. Now, what I want you to do is share your LinkedIn profiles. And I always post this. If I'm in a group that allows me to post, I've got this thing in a notepad document on my computer, which is always pinned. I can quickly go in, grab it, and post it. I don't have to type this out. And most of you have various ways of doing that. But let's first of all, follow each other, okay? In terms of that. There you go. Now, one of the features that this has, okay, perfect. You got Bob's got it in there. Okay. One of the features that this Mighty Networks has is you can copy this chat box. And I always copy all the chat boxes every time, and I put it into my notepad. And the first thing I do is I mine it for LinkedIn links, and then that's the people I always follow. Why? Because we've had a relationship, we had a contacts, right? In terms of it. And so remember, you may not be here, you may not be doing what you're doing 2 or 3 years down the road, especially if you're younger. But you could take your network with you with LinkedIn and repurpose it. It is a huge asset that's undervalued for most people, right? So anyway, so yeah, Chris, you get it. We'll send you an invite as well, okay, to the university. So all your paid members, you get it. Basically, you can have that invite. You can have access to that stuff I showed you this morning right away. But anyway, so that's the end of the official segment. We can stop the recording, or maybe we have good questions.
Let's leave it on just for a few minutes to see what kind of questions we get.
Yeah, so this is a general. Well, first of all, let's have some comments back. What do you think? Number 2, what would you like to hear more about? Number 2, and number 3, if you have any other questions, this is a time to have them. This is the meeting after the meeting, and that's one of the things I've always recommended in networking is, that's why I like Saturdays, because typically people don't have back-to-back meetings like we do in the weekly world, so it's a little bit more relaxed here in terms of that process. But you could see how much content that you're getting through these interactions. Okay, I also have this information. Now, here's what I do, and I do this before, and somebody says, I met Doug Setter at an event the other day. Would you mind passing on contact information? You see these little points here? I've got a list of about 300 of those I've built over the last couple of years, and I have them in alpha order. So I can literally grab Doug's information or Charles's information, and I can post all that contact information into Messenger on a computer. But sometimes I'll do it in WhatsApp, but often I'll do it on Messenger in LinkedIn, where I can provide all the contact information to somebody who wants to get a hold of Bob Skinner. And so I've taken these and I do a little bit of reformatting. It's a little work, but I've got hundreds of them. So sometimes people will see an email from me and will say, hey, I'd like to introduce Bob to Charles. I'll post the Charles and Bob profile together, hit send, and now they have each other's contact. My job is done. It elevates my value proposition with them. Okay, so that's one of the uses I've used for this content.
Tom had his hand up, George.
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Were you speaking to a visual aid, because there wasn't anything shared?
No,
okay.
I haven't shared
Perfect.
that. No,
Go ahead. Second thing is, I was asking about those numbers because I was listening for what fraction of percent, and if I did the math right, it's only like 0.3%.
Yeah.
Are what you were pointing at?
Yeah.
0.3% of the total population
Yeah.
is actually doing it. So you're speaking to the early adopter phase, right?
100%. And that's why I'm telling you right now is just by doing a little bit, you're way ahead of the curve. You get good at this thing, you're going to be a power user. Now, remember, here's what's going to happen in the next couple of years. Okay, guaranteed. Gary V is all over this. Okay, Gary Vaynerchuk is now becoming a massive proponent, and there's a bunch of Gary V wannabes out there. So he's launching a movement, and I think you're going to see LinkedIn really explode over the next couple of years. And so you want to be ahead of that wave. And a rising tide raises all boats, which means you're going to really build up your SI scores, your contacts, everything. And I one of the big reasons I like it is it's on a limited budget, was called Xero. You've got this really good tool that you can start with, and in terms of that. Yeah, Chris.
The other thing, I was listening to you, George, and I looked at my conversations with my contacts on LinkedIn, and I was actually surprised to see there's lots of conversations that had fallen off. over time, especially with COVID. And I revisited those, and it's like, oh, I've probably got like 20 hot leads that I just need to reconnect with.
There you go. Yeah, I mean there's tons of business leads sitting in your messenger that you can go through. I mean, you go, oh yeah, I almost closed that deal, right? And that's exactly what happened with me and the contact that we just secured. I reached out to him in the beginning of March, and you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. He came back and said, I'm working on a project that I think you're a perfect fit for. Can I take you out for dinner? So we go to the Terminal City Club, really nice club. I had this great salmon dinner, fine bottle of wine, and he offers me this great contract. Like it was the easiest sale I've made this year by a whole country mile. And because you can't say the wrong thing. But what I did was I put myself out there, right? And I basically was exposing my brand. And that probably wouldn't have happened had I not sent that very simple text in Messenger. And that's why I'm saying, you know what, it does work. And we're going to get more testimonials on the screen, okay? Where people go, like Chris, I started doing that last week. So let's go through if you didn't get all the tips, let me tell you what's the bare minimum that you get you started. Accept everybody, connect with 10 people, right? And post at least 3 times a week. Anybody can do that, okay? And sometimes it's repost. Sometimes I'll repost, and sometimes I'll repost with an agenda, okay? But basically, that's the kind of stuff I would share with you, right? As a bare minimum to get started with. All right. So yeah, Tom, go ahead.
One more question about the content type.
Yeah.
So it occurs to me like LinkedIn is more cerebral, and Facebook or Twitter is more of a. Is that true?
They're totally different in the audience because with LinkedIn, it's really business centric. Facebook and TikTok is look at me, and LinkedIn is more intellectual and cerebral. You're absolutely correct, right? So
Cool.
that will basically drive a content strategy for sure.
So when you say post, you put in a longer content, more thoughtful.
Yeah, 100% agree. When you're in there. That was the video I posted this morning that you'll have access to once you're in the university. It's about 46 minutes. It talks exactly about that topic.
Okay, thank you.
What was your number
So go ahead.
What was your number 3 again, please, George?
Okay, so number 1 is accept all posts. Number 2, follow 10 to 12 people per day, never exceeding 100 per week. And number 3, post. Okay. And that number 3 is do posts, right? And I think that's absolutely critical in terms of that process. And that will really separate you out just with there. You want to be a power user, do all 10. And it's easy. I do all 10 all the time. It's easy. And I'm enjoying it. I'm literally enjoying having interactions. And I want to show you something. Now remember, posts with pictures get twice as much traffic. Okay, another metric. Let me show you something that will freak you out. All right. Now, because I am a paid member, I get a couple of little benefits that I think are really worthwhile. You can tell me when you can see my LinkedIn again. Okay. Can you see my LinkedIn there again?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so go to George Mon, get rid of all this other shrapnel. All right, go to my posts. Okay, now the stats are really good. So I get basically good stats. Now, I've never met Robbie Berkner, but he's running for the board of CIRA. Okay, so I wrote this, he wrote this post, and I wrote this post. So I commented and told a story around it. Okay. And because I have a secret agenda, won't tell you what it is yet, but bottom line of it is that I'm going to be voting for him for the election for him to be a board member of CIRA. I've got 139 impressions on that one, and I can get into the analytics of who's looking at my posts. Okay, so this is what the statistics tell me. Okay, now if I go down a bit, I commented, I reposted Glenn. I'm building a relationship with a reporter in business in Vancouver. They did a full page article of me when we launched WRN. He's come to the boat. I'm always supporting him. He responds back. This is about ageism. I like World Economic Reform because because we're an international global company. I develop a post around what I think are important global aspects. The one that really this is a paid member strategic partner. We sell her products, the payment system. I repost her contact. Web Names is a partner, and they've got a great program coming out. We're going to talk about that a little later. I repost their content. That got, and also I'm a member of another group where I can also post simultaneously, which gives me the ability to get double the traffic. But this is the one where we're opening up the traffic. Surprisingly, opening up the West Vancouver is now up to 1,808 or 1,089 views. Okay. And has had 18 interactions. So we're going to have a pretty good opening and opening up a brand new chapter in the North Shore. We're going to do this with every chapter, no matter where they are in the world. Promoting the boat, that's the actual boat. This is really cool. But this one got the most traffic last week, okay? This fellow here, now what this picture here is all about, let's go to that. This picture here is AI tracking movement and customer time in a coffee shop. I used to run a coffee operation. This barista's made 20 cups. This barista's made 3 cups. This barista has made 10 cups. So it shows the productivity. Now, I'm not getting into the good or bad about privacy and all that kind of stuff because privacy is a myth. These customers are working. They've been here an hour and a half. This customer's 5 minutes. This customer's 25 minutes. These are important metrics for rental space, etc. So, but this was leading into some strategies around it. What's interesting is it got 1,726 impressions of that process on my profile. That the difference behind content obviously grabs. Now, here's one metrics that they don't talk about. The more interaction it gets, they push it out to more people on the algorithms in LinkedIn. So if you can find those things that get traffic, it gets weeks of life on your profile, which is important to try to figure out. Now, I can't tell you what your contact strategy will be across every platform, but I can tell you it's important, and it's important for your brand. It's important you become. I think it's really important that you become an expert at what you do, and LinkedIn gives you a 930 million people to show your expertise, and it's just sitting there. You don't have to have a website and struggle with SEO. You don't have to do anything. You just have to be on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's now my blog. Okay. I don't have to have a blog. I got LinkedIn, and I get people to read it all the time. Right. But again, your content strategy has a higher purpose in that process. Anyway, that's kind of it for me today. I'm going to be holding these once